Good evening. It's dreadful the amount of prejudice around these days. And the worst kind of prejudice, in my view, is prejudice against me. For some reason, I find that particular form of prejudice very hard to bear. Just because I sit around in a Macintosh all day, people seem to assume I must be some sort of dirty old man. They can only think in stereotypes. I mean, if you're a man in a raincoat, then you must be some sort of pervert. I call it Macism. And I don't see why my sitting around in a Mac all day should provoke such a violent response. Only yesterday this man come up to me in the park and he shouted, "Who do you think you are sitting around in that dirty old Mac?" I said, "I think I'm Wisty. In fact, I'm sure of it. And when you say dirty with regard to the Mac, I have a receipt from the dry cleaners stating that the rainwear in question is now spotlessly clean, completely retextured, and well within the acceptable radioactivity safety guidelines." "Don't you get spark smart with me," he said. "I know your sort." "What sort am I inquired. "People like you," he shouted. "Well, I think this conversation is going round in circles," I said. And that's when he threw the yoghurt at me. Country fresh raspberry yoghurt it was. But when I took my Mac back to the dry cleaners that afternoon, they said it more looked like a stubborn stain than yoghurt, and they'd have to charge me double, and with no guarantee that the stain would look any better after the removal. Well, they seem to have got rid of the stain, but apparently the radioactivity level has risen. I do wish people would stop throwing Polish yoghurt at me. But that's what it's like being the victim of Macism. Sometimes I think it'd be more sensible to give up wearing my Mac and thus avoid this particular form of prejudice. But why should I abandon my birthright? Why should I allow bigots to destroy my heritage? As far as I'm concerned, an Englishman's home is his Macintosh. Good night.